Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be doing a suggested airport update, which is something I have not done in quite a while. So basically this is quite a common concept. Pretty much every model airplane YouTuber on YouTube does these. But basically the way that works is it's just a random model airport that I set up once on a blank board like this. And then I let you guys suggest airports you would like to see in the future in the comments down below. So with that, the subject airport of today's video is actually going to be Austin Bergstrom International Airport. Now, Austin Bergstrom International Airport is a very, very interesting airport. It opened in 1999 on the site of the former Bergstrom Air Force Base, and it served just over 21 million passengers in 2022 and is the third busiest airport in the state of Texas. Austin also has quite a large amount of international traffic, especially for an airport of its size, all of which we will get into later. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get straight into the update and save rambling news and that kind of stuff for the end of the video. So let's get started. First, right here, we have a Spirit Airbus A321 in the older Home of the Bear Fair titles. If you don't know, the newer Spirit livery just says Spirit.com on the engines and titles are not so torn up, but this is an older release. Anyway, this aircraft has just arrived in from Fort Lauderdale and will be heading out to Baltimore. Next right here, we have an Alaska Boeing 737-900ER. This guy just came in from Seattle and is going to be heading back out there. Right here, we have a Delta Airbus A220-100. This guy earlier today came in from Seattle and currently is just getting fueled up for a flight out to New York LaGuardia. And here is the first of many international carriers for today's update. Right here, we have an Aeromexico 737-800. Aeromexico really only operate the E190s into Austin, but I don't have an E190, so this 737 is just going to have to do for today's update. But anyway, earlier today, this aircraft came in from Mexico City. Currently, he's just kind of idling here, and he'll be heading back out to Mexico City later. That is their one route. Next up, moving on to a more interesting international carrier. Right here, we have a KLM Boeing 787-9 in the 100 years livery, or not really much of a livery, it's just kind of a little sticker. This was a recent pickup at Airlines, absolutely awesome model by Phoenix. But like I said, Austin is the subject of numerous international flights, a few of which, more than really any other airport of this size, actually to Europe. Austin is served by 4 different European airlines, all of which we will get to in today's video. But KLM is the first. Earlier today, this aircraft came in from Amsterdam Schiphol, of course, and is getting ready to push back and go back out there. Next here, we have the largest passenger aircraft that regularly flies here. That is this British Airways Airbus A350-1000. Honestly, it's absolutely crazy that British Airways can actually operate an aircraft this size into here, but they have, and even bigger. In the past, they've operated the 777-300s into here even. So clearly this route must be doing very well. But yeah, earlier today, this aircraft came in from London Heathrow and is going to be heading back out there. Next right here, we have an Air Canada Airbus A220-300. Now this is kind of an interesting one because I was looking on Flight Radar while researching this video and I saw this on the ground at Austin. And I'm not sure if it's a regular visitor because in the past I've only seen on the Toronto route, I've only seen Air Canada CRJ900s and E175s. It may be a new thing, I'm not really sure. But this was here today, so I decided to throw it in the update because this is a really pretty model. So yeah, this Air Canada A220-300 came in from Toronto earlier today and will be heading back out there. Next right here, we have a Delta Airbus A321 in the Thank You livery. This guy came in from Atlanta and will be heading back out there. Next right here, we have a Delta Connection CRJ900. Earlier today, this guy came in from Raleigh-Durham and is just getting loaded up for Cincinnati. Next up, we have the most recent addition to my collection, a model I've been after for a very long time and was finally able to get my hands on. It is this Delta A319 from the early 2010s by Gemini Jets. It's a very pretty model on what I consider to probably be the best A320 family mold there is. That's Gemini Jets, the Gemini Jets 2 mold for that. It's a very nice model. But anyway, this aircraft came in from Salt Lake City and is going to be heading out to Los Angeles. Moving on to Southwest, who are one of the largest airlines here. They have a huge amount of operations and routes out of here. They don't officially have this airport classified as a focus city, but they may as well, considering how many flights they have from here. So let's go ahead and get started with them. The 737-800 came in from Dallas Love Field and is going to be heading out to Chicago Midway. This 737 MAX 8 came in from Orlando and is going to be heading out to Fort Lauderdale. Next up, we have the increasingly rare Canyon Blue 737-700. There's only a few of these left, which sucks because it's a really nice livery. But this guy earlier today came in from Washington Reagan and is just getting ready to push out for Oakland. Next right here, we have the 737-700 in the Heart livery. This guy earlier today came in from, we'll go with Denver for that. And he's going to be heading out to Baltimore. And finally, for Southwest right here, we have the California 1 livery, which was unfortunately repainted recently. I believe it's going to be repainted back onto an 800, but it sucks because I've got this model that's just not going to be realistic anymore. But I did want to throw it into today's update because I kind of need it for the Southwest traffic. But yeah, so we'll send this guy to California destinations. He came in from San Jose earlier today and is going to be heading out to Sacramento. All right, and moving on to the second section of the terminal. If you can't tell, I actually just had to unset up the last section and set up this section because I did not have enough space on my table for the full terminal. But this section of the terminal just contains pretty much American, JetBlue, United. But American are I believe they are the largest airline here now. I believe they're bigger than Southwest. I may be wrong on that, like don't quote me on that, but American about 2 years ago basically launched a huge expansion, like dozens of new routes out of here. This is like their largest hub that's not a hub. It's crazy. They have an absolute ton of flights out of here. So let's go ahead and get started with these American Airlines aircraft because there are lots of them. Starting right here, we have an American Eagle Embraer 175. He came in from Cincinnati and is going to be heading out to Washington Dulles. This next Embraer 175 right here just arrived in from, say, Destin Fort Walton Beach and is going to be heading out to Panama City. That is the Panama City in Florida, not the Panama City in Panama. I'm not sure if an E175 could make it. Well, I mean, yeah, this is pretty cool. I guess an E175 could make it to that Panama City, but this aircraft is heading out to Panama City, Florida. Next right here, we have an American Airlines 737-800 just in the regular livery. This is about the most plain aircraft in American's fleet, so I guess we'll just send this out on some hub routes, not some interesting routes. This guy came in from Dallas-Fort Worth earlier today and is just getting fueled up for its flight out to Charlotte. Next up here, we have an American Airlines Airbus A319. This guy arrived in from New York JFK and is going to be heading out to Los Angeles. Next up, we have a 737-800 in the One World livery. This guy is just getting catered up. Earlier today, he came in from San Jose del Cabo, and we're actually going to send him out to Nassau. I believe that's actually operated on the E175, but I already used up all my E175s, and that's another one interesting international route that American flies. So yeah, we'll send him out to Nassau today. And finally, for American right here, we have an American Eagle CRJ 700. This guy arrived in earlier today from Aspen, and to my knowledge, that's the only CRJ route out of here. It's mostly E-jets. I guess we'll just send this guy back out to Aspen, because I think and the reason for that is because Aspen has such a short runway that this is like the CRJ 700 is like the only plane, commercial airliner at least, that can land on it. So they kind of have to operate these on that route, but still quite a cool route and wanted to throw that into the update. Okay, hopefully moving on to a less weird camera angle. Sorry about that with the American planes. It's realistically at Austin Bergstrom there, like the gates, the aprons are like slanted slightly, and it makes for an interesting look when you're filming. So I had to kind of work around that, but I wanted to make that realistic. But moving on right here, we have a JetBlue Airbus A320 in the Blueberry's tail. This guy came in from Fort Lauderdale and is heading out to New York JFK. Next up, we have a United Airbus A319 that just arrived in from Houston and is going to be heading out to San Francisco. We got a United 737 MAX 8, and he had earlier today arrived in from, let's go with Chicago O'Hare, and is going to be heading out to Washington Dulles. Finally, for United right here, we have a 737-700 in the older livery. Earlier today, this guy arrived in from the United hub route, Denver, and is going to be heading out to Newark today. While I'm over here, I'll also get this taxiing Southwest aircraft. Earlier today, let's say he arrived in from Houston Hobby and is going to be heading out to Dallas Love Field. It's a very common Southwest route. Now moving on to what is definitely one of the more interesting parts of this airport, we have the low-cost terminal. Now, obviously, what you saw over pretty much the entire update has been the main terminal, but there is also a smaller terminal that just has 3 gates, I believe, and it is used by Allegiant and Frontier. Frontier kind of just tagged along there, but Allegiant actually have a focus city here. They're the only airline that officially has a focus city here. Yeah, you're never going to see more than like 2 aircraft from Allegiant here because of the way their operations work, but that's still kind of cool. And they park over here. These are hard stand gates, and there's a tiny little terminal building that they use. So this aircraft right here, this Allegiant A320 in the new livery, say he arrived in from Cincinnati and is going to be heading out to Orlando Sanford. Just pushing back right here, we have an Allegiant A320 in the Travel is Our Deal livery. And he earlier today came in from San Diego and right now is going to be heading out to Knoxville in Tennessee. And then finally for this terminal right here, we have a Frontier A320 in the Baja the Whale Shark livery. He arrived in from Denver and is going to be heading back out there. Moving on over to cargo right here, we have a FedEx Boeing 767-300ER. This guy came in from Memphis earlier today and will be heading back out there. Next right here, we've got the typical cargo aircraft thing of just not doing anything all day. So yeah, this morning this UPS 767-300ER came in from Louisville and will be heading back out there later tonight. Finally, for cargo right here, we have a UPS Boeing 757-200. He came in from Dallas-Fort Worth and will be heading out to Ontario. Austin does maintain a fairly consistent cargo operation, mainly with airlines like you can see here, such as FedEx and UPS. But they do also get service from, off the top of my head, Prime Air and DHL. The DHL is just like 734s to Cincinnati, and Prime Air is probably also to Cincinnati, I've seen. I think Ontario as well. But yeah, they have a couple of other cargo airlines that just operate in here, but I don't have any of those, unfortunately. So today it's just UPS and FedEx. I would love to get a Prime Air aircraft in the future. I think that'd be super useful. Same with DHL. But for the time being, this is all I have in today's updates. But this is the most consistent cargo operation you're going to see is these UPS and FedEx planes, like I was saying, so hopefully that just works for today's update. Moving on over to the taxiway right here, we have an Alaska Embraer 175. This guy came in from Boise earlier today and is going to be heading out to San Jose. Next right here in line for the runway, we have a Lufthansa Boeing 787-9. This is yet another European airline that actually flies here. Currently they're flying the 787-9s to Frankfurt. And it used to be the A330s, but it was switched over like a lot of these. It seems like a lot of these kind of smaller routes that kind of Lufthansa's non-hub routes, non-Star Alliance hub routes are switching over to the 787-9s, which is kind of interesting. And this airport is no exception. But that being said, it is a very nice looking aircraft. So yeah, earlier today this guy came in from Frankfurt and he is just about to depart back out there. Next right here we have a Sun Country 737-800. Sun Country have an interesting route network. They only have 2 routes. One is, as you might guess, to Minneapolis, but the other is actually down to Cancun on an international flight, which is quite cool. So yeah, earlier today, this guy came in from Minneapolis and is going to be heading out to Cancun, as I said. And now, as the final aircraft in today's update, right here we have a Virgin Atlantic Boeing 787-9. They are the newest European airline to actually start service to Austin. Starting, I believe it was only back in early 2022 when they started, might have been 2021. It was recently, that's what I know. But they are the newest European airline and also my favorite airline in the world, Virgin Atlantic, if you did not know that. So in today's update, we got the 787-9. That is what they're operating right now. This is the NG models release that I got pretty recently. It is a beautiful model. I love this model. It's one of my favorites in my whole collection. So yeah, earlier today, this guy came in from London Heathrow, and we'll be heading back out there. Hey guys, editing me here from the future, and I just wanted to come on here quickly and say that I know I didn't include every airline that flies to Austin in today's updates. Just to name a few that didn't include WestJet, Hawaiian, some very interesting ones that I didn't include either because I simply didn't have the model, or just because like I have a WestJet model, for example, but I just did not have the room in the update. I mean, I don't want to just cram every international carrier in there because that's not something that would happen in real life. So I just wanted to come on here and acknowledge that because I forgot to in the video, because I know if I didn't, someone in the comments would say that, would like bring that up and say, why didn't I include this airline? So I just wanted to say that's the reason I didn't include those airlines. Okay, that's it. And with that, that does conclude today's update. There are a few things I want to talk about real quick, just kind of update you guys on some things. So I initially said that I was going to do another Lexington airport update just on this blank board before I actually build the full new Lexington board, but that kind of got me thinking, and that once I do that, that will take up this space and I won't really have the room to do suggested airport updates. So I figured that I would record a couple over the next few weeks. I'll probably upload this one pretty soon after I film it. So if you want to suggest an airport for me to do, during the next few weeks, I'll probably make them and then release them over the coming months. So they're kind of on a more consistent basis and not just I release a bunch of them and then have no content for a few months, because that's boring. I don't want to do that. So I kind of record them a little bit in advance. So yeah, comment down below if you would like to see an airport from me. I can do pretty much any small to mid-sized US airport, and kind of just nothing. I can't do anything crazy like Chicago O'Hare or Los Angeles or something like that. But pretty much any airport around this size or smaller I can do within the US. So yeah, I mean, if you'd like to suggest an airport, please do. I would greatly appreciate that. That would be awesome. Give me some ideas for what to do in the future. And then, what was the other thing I was going to talk about? Actually, that might have been the only thing. So, I mean, yeah, if you guys enjoyed this update, let me know down below. I hope you enjoyed it. I think these updates are really interesting and fun because Lexington's not a huge airport, and kind of getting away from my normal airport updates and doing something a little bit more interesting is really fun for me, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as well. So yeah, with that, make sure you leave a like, subscribe. If you have time, leave a comment down below telling me your thoughts. I always say that like 3 different times in my outro. So yeah, with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.